Okay, welcome back, everyone. It is yet another one. So let's get started here. It's episode
Five,
what?
five, five.
What? Oh, five.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a
very
hand
good.
on it too. Who's
Yeah,
that holding
so
it up behind you?
yeah, I mean, I gotta
Who is that
get that
guy?
there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right. Anyway, it is five, and all these things working out. We're recording this a little bit ahead of time, but this will be October 10th, right?
So,
So
what's
big
special
episode.
about October 10th?
Yeah, October 10th is a big deal. And just so you know, I'm William the Teacher. This is my brother.
Daniel Nowotnik.
And this is Two Plant-Based Brothers. And I'm sure you've already read the description before you decided to watch it. But yeah, October 10th, 2020 was my when I quit drinking and started to live a sober life. So it's a big deal celebrating
Huge.
5 years of it, of sobriety, and it's something that's a long journey, a long history. I do think that alcoholism runs in the family, but it
Yeah.
kind of skipped a generation because our parents didn't, but our grandparents and Daniel, you're a lot younger than I am, so you missed a lot of the parties and the things
Yeah.
that went on in the 1980s, and it was a good time. It
And
really was.
for the record, I was there in the 80s. I just wasn't aware of it. I was too
No,
young.
yeah, okay, even the early 80s. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you came at the end of 83. I mean, you missed quite a bit,
Three whole
you know.
years.
You know, you missed the Rams Super Bowl of whenever that was, 79, 80,
Yeah, definitely missed that.
LA Raiders Super Bowl, you probably missed that one, you know.
Yep.
I don't know. There are always New Year's Eve parties, Christmas parties, Fourth of July. I mean, you name it, there was a party, and the old folks like to knock back their booze. So
Yes.
they had a good time. And for me, I started drinking alcohol in high school, just
Yeah.
like everybody. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in a small town, same town Daniel grew up in.
Same one.
Not a lot to do. So we always knew some guy who could find the booze, or someone's parents were out of town or something like that. But we'd end up just drinking in the middle of a field. In these places would be by a creek. Shout out to Mill Creek. Eight Ball Junction, Sharks Fin. You guys know it. And that just progressed. Through college, and it was a thing. Everyone did it. It wasn't a problem, wasn't a big deal. And
Mhm.
when I talk about it, I'm not going to be like, for anyone waiting for that big sob story where I lose my job, or I lose my family, my wife leaves me. It's not going to happen. That didn't happen. It was one of those things where, yeah, I drank and decided not to do
Mhm.
it anymore. So 10-10-20 was a great day, because 10 plus 10 equals 20. It'd be easy day to remember, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that was a good thing. But, previous to that, spent, a lot of time. I'd mentioned Lent in a previous episode about giving up meat. Well, giving up meat or alcohol, that was usually the case. And,
Mhm.
it wasn't a big deal. And I quit many times, but 10-10-20 seemed like a good time to stop. And, I did. And 4 days later, on the 14th, I ended up in the hospital, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that one. But yeah, that was when I found out that was really it. This wasn't a Lent thing. This wasn't,
Mhm.
you go back during Christmas time. That's it, no more.
Mhm.
Um, Pancreas was shot, and a few other things, and you know
And
I told the doctor, I said, listen, I already quit, so it's not a big deal. But when you get that news, when they say you're not going to drink again, and you don't,
can I
and
ask about the pancreas part? Because I'm assuming, but maybe not. Right. Is that where alcohol goes through of some sort, right?
you're going to have to look it up, because I think that had more to do with the other concerns and the blood sugar. So,
Okay,
and my blood sugar being very high. So
gotcha.
I think the liver had problems too. That whatever
Mm.
the filter functioning was not happening,
Uh-huh.
and so it's one of those things where it just I said, okay, done. And you know what? After 3 months, I'll start smoking weed. That was going to be my plan.
That was the plan?
That was the plan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it
Why
just never
not?
happened. I work in downtown San Diego, so I get high by contact all the time. You know, you
Yeah.
get that contact high, you know. Serious. I'm not lying to you, Daniel. This happened to me one day riding on the trolley. A dude stood up in the middle of the trolley and
I believe
lit
it,
a
yeah.
bowl. It wasn't even one of these vape things. It was a real bowl. You just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I hate the smell. So I just never done it. But that's like the thing now. A lot of people are doing is going California sober, right? I
Right.
think for any of you who actually came to us first, you know, for the plant-based lifestyle, for the eating tips, exercising, these kinds of things, I think you're going to find if you watch any videos, one of the first things it's going to tell you if you want to get fit is to drop the alcohol.
Right.
So,
Empty
you know,
calories, right? They do absolutely nothing for you.
oh, it was a waste. It was a waste. But you know, for me, it was how I spent time with people.
Yeah, I was
Honestly.
going to ask about that. So for socially, it sounded like, especially from the beginning, right?
Mhm.
Everyone was doing it. Did you feel pressured to do it, or you just felt like this is
No, I
what I
enjoyed it.
do?
I enjoyed every
Okay.
minute. I had a lot of, if that's the hardest part now is looking back and seeing all the great times that I had.
Okay.
I could tell you that there wasn't such a great time when I was 18 years old and I
Hmm.
got in trouble, with
Hmm.
it. I shouldn't have been doing it and had to go through these meetings.
Right.
And I just looked at these poor sad saps and said, geez, Louise, these guys got problems. It
Yeah.
wasn't me. I had a few too many and made a stupid mistake. But gosh, the sad stories of these guys losing their jobs, losing their
Right.
homes. This poor guy, he was living up in the mountains and he didn't come to the meeting one week and said, well, what happened to Roy? His name's not Roy, so I apologize to anyone out there named Roy, including my friend
It's not
Roy
you. It's
Hampton.
really not you, Roy.
It's not Roy Hampton. Okay. And what happened to Roy? He got pulled over. He got a B-Wee. I said, what the heck is a B-Wee? Biking while intoxicated.
Oh,
So
I've never heard of
yeah,
that.
he couldn't stop. He kept going to the bar, but he couldn't
Yeah.
drive home anymore. So he rode his bike home and got arrested.
But you still
And
get arrested for that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a sad, sad story. And I don't have too many of those. What I do have a lot of good times. A lot of time spent at football games, at baseball games, all these other things. And it really is when you walk away from it, it's not that you lose friends per se, but you
Mhm.
you kind of do,
Sure.
especially if you need to separate yourself, and I
Yeah.
needed to do that. So declining some birthday party invitations that were at bars, right?
Sure.
Not a good idea. I still haven't been to the Casbah in 5 years. Although I went several times during Lent where I didn't drink and it was fine, but it's just one of those things where that whole thing that you do together, you do with your friends, and you don't do it anymore, but everyone else still does.
Right.
And it's something else when you kind of get sober and you realize, yeah, I don't really like hanging out with people who are drunk.
Right. Okay. And then I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask. And do you drink the non-alcoholic beer or non-alcoholic drinks that are kind of like mocktails, that sort of thing?
Not usually. I think I did. I definitely did. I found some good non-alcoholic beers, but I think a wise person once said, um, non-alcoholic drinks are for non-alcoholics. And I know that, it's something where I didn't go to any meetings and or anything like that, but they'll tell you you're an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time actually saying that because I don't think it's true because I don't think about it. And one of the things they're going to tell you is you need to get rid of all the booze in your house.
Hmm.
Just like someone going vegetarian or plant-based, get rid of all the
Yeah.
meat in your house,
Right.
get rid of the temptation. But I think the temptation is always around you, and you need
I
to
agree.
be able to be strong enough. And so there's booze all over my house. I even make my wife margaritas. It's not a tempt for me.
But then
It's something to where I never think about it. You know,
how? Like, I want to ask because I think there's probably a lot of people out there, myself included, where temptation is just so real and it's so in our face. And alcohol, like you said, is everywhere. It's like
mhm.
advertised to us everywhere
Yeah,
as well. So
yeah.
it's hard for a lot of people. how has it been an easy cut and dry for you? Because 5 years is a very long time, and I'd
Yeah.
love to know.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say it's easy cut and dry.
Okay.
At first, it was hard, but at first it was actually easy. And another point because of a doctor telling you you're never going to do this again,
Got you.
and that reality hits you, and then you get better, and you know that I could, right? I
Hmm.
could if I want to, but I don't want to. It's just something. First of all, the wasted calories and the bad decisions that get made. And normally for me, the bad decisions that get made at the end of the night are that carne asada nachos, um,
Food, right?
pepperoni pizza from 7-Eleven. Those really poor choices that I made way too
Right.
often.
Right.
And, like I said, I don't have the story about me, driving my car into the 7-Eleven,
Mm,
or, waking up somewhere. It's just bad decisions with the food.
right.
But, it was really tough in a lot of different aspects. I can tell you one probably the hardest night was in 2021,
Okay.
and that was during the NCAA tournament. And San Diego State was playing Syracuse. We were a 6 seed; they were 11 seed. But I think in the first half we were down like 2-1, like 36-18 or something like that.
Okay.
And I was just so frustrated because the year before we were like a top 4 seed, a top one of the number 1 seeds, right?
Hmm.
And then they canceled the whole tournament because of COVID. And then
Ah,
the next year we finally get our chance, and everyone's like, they shouldn't have been there, they shouldn't have been there, they shouldn't have been there. Then we get blown out by an 11 seed.
oh,
And I went out for this strong walk. I went out for a hard walk, and I was still pretty much on a very low calorie diet at the time, and I was came back just shaking.
mhm.
And knowing that's something I would have done, would be to have a few drinks, definitely. And that's something that we had a motto, with my friends and I at
Yeah.
San Diego State University, is win or lose, we hit the booze. And
Yeah.
it's tough to even say that nowadays because I don't do it.
Win or
And
lose, you don't hit the booze.
win or lose, you find other ways to deal with it, and
Yeah.
finding ways to deal with loss. I mean, one thing that I could say that throughout my adult life, yeah, I drank almost every night. It's just the way it was. You put the kids to bed, you knock back a couple drinks. My wife and I would sit around and play cards or drink, or we'd watch show. No big deal. But it wasn't crazy. It just wasn't. And then I can just tell you a quick story about my buddy Dave, because I think it's important. And
Yeah.
Dave and I kind of grew up together, played baseball together, basketball together. We're one of the few kids in a small town that really, really liked rap music. And we had a bond over sports and rap and things like that. And in our entire adult life, when we got together, we poured him back. And there's Dave moved to Vegas. He's probably the one person in the world who should not have lived in Las Vegas. He
Yeah.
got in trouble with the law over and over and over again. And then he ended up in jail several times. And I remember going out there for a wedding, and we met up at a restaurant. We're both drinking iced teas, and he was doing the program, and he got religion and everything else and doing so much better,
Hmm.
but it just didn't last for him. And there's part of me that definitely feels guilty in the fact that when we did get together after he had kind of bettered himself in a way and cleaned up, we went right back to drinking.
Hmm.
And so in 2020, it was around St. Patrick's Day.
Hmm.
I had given up booze for Lent, and got the call. Dave was going to go with my older brother to the bar right down the street. So we went down there to bar. I won't tell you the name, and got tied one on, as we say, played some darts, had some good time, talked some smack. I stumbled home, and Dave died later that night, or early the next morning. It was one of those things where it's hard because you don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right.
They kept him alive. I went and visited him in the hospital right up the street, and
Was he like on a ventilator or something? Something
he
was
was being
keeping him
kept
alive.
alive.
Right?
He
Yeah.
was being kept alive, and he was not there. He was dead.
Mm.
But we talked to him. I held his hand and talked to him and told him we'd get together again and do it all over, but it didn't happen. And a good friend of mine, Vital, Dave's cousin, had to make the call
Yeah.
to
God.
pull him, and this was just crushing. And so, like, I was going to take that one night off from Lent, because as I talked about our grandfather taking Sundays off,
Yeah.
you count up the days, it doesn't matter. Instead, they put me down on a much heavier drinking path after that,
Right.
and lost didn't lose my job at first, but that's went online. So now I don't even have a commute anymore. So I can sleep in a little bit longer. I can stay up a little bit later, and
Right.
then the job's gone.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
now I'm unemployed. I can't really go anywhere. I can't do anything. Still, don't drink during the day, just at night. But those nights get longer, and
Yeah.
to the point to where, you're, everyone goes to bed, but you're up watching YouTube at 3 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
until it says that's it, it's 10, 10, 20, that's it, done. And then get the news from the doctor that it's over. But one thing, like I said, I don't think about it, doesn't bother me at all. But every now and then, yeah, it gets under my skin a little bit. The advertising, I watch a lot of sports. The advertising is there, the
Oh, yeah.
celebration of it. You watch any kind of show or someone, they're always, for some reason, everyone drinks, bourbon on the rocks in every show,
What shows are
which
you watching?
well, I don't, the lawyer shows, or they always
Okay.
meet up at
That
the
makes
bar, the
sense.
cop shows,
I don't
every
watch
now and
that
then
stuff.
someone has some beer, but the cool guys always have bourbon on the rocks
I watch
because,
Survivor. That's all I watch. So
yeah, okay.
they
But
don't have that in Survivor. But I'll just say
yeah,
this, like I commend you. I think making that decision was an amazing choice for your longevity and your health. And I commend just the willpower that you have. 5 years is it's just something extremely to be proud about. I don't know if it was maybe it was 2 years ago, or maybe it could have been 3 years ago. I think you, me, and mom, I think went out to dinners when we were up at her house taking care of dad, or maybe it could have been after dad had passed. I don't remember, but you had hit. I think you had hit like 2 or 3 years at that point.
mhm,
And I was just so proud of you for doing that, and also shocked because I didn't. You kind of did it under the radar too. I didn't know necessarily you weren't necessarily advertising. I just knew you chose not to drink. I didn't
yeah,
know it was the full-fledged sobriety, and so I'm just really proud of you for doing it because I think it's an amazing choice for your own health.
yeah, and it's one of those things where dude, everyone's got to live their own life. Everyone's got to do
Yeah,
what they got to do. But the whole idea of win or lose, hit the booze thing is goes through not just the sports, but life and how
yeah,
you deal with a good friend passing at a
yeah,
way too young age, and knowing that a few other friends of mine who are older than me, and I'm not going to put their deaths related to alcohol, but yeah, that's everyone did, right? And you watch people die in their 40s or 50s, and it's just like that's too early.
yeah.
And
Didn't
you know,
help your health, right? So even if
yeah,
it wasn't a contributing factor, it could have
yeah,
been, right? Definitely, just didn't help,
yeah.
right?
So
So
it's
crazy.
anyone out there, if you struggle, if you're looking to make that change in life, you can do it.
Yeah,
I don't even recommend following my path. I think for most people, it's better to talk about it. It's not something I talk about a lot, but I chose to do it here today because it's a big deal. 5 years is a big deal, and that's we're talking about journeys, and here we're talking about life, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things. But I think it's important. If you need any help, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can hit a comment or hit me up. Be happy to talk about it, but you're going to have to make your own path. You're going to have to make your
yeah,
own journey. You're going to have to do it, um, whatever it may be. And if you doesn't matter what your addiction is, I won't be able to tell you much about your cocaine use or something like that. I've never done it, but uh, the thing is, if your life can be fulfilling and you don't have to hide anything. Um, learning to get better, learning to emotionally take losses and not bury it under substances, whether it be pepperoni pizza or, you know, beer. It's something that we all got to work with. So
Yeah, and I think it gives you the opportunity, like in those instances, to if it's like death, for instance, to properly grieve, right?
mhm.
To feel the
Yeah,
emotions and not bury it, like you said.
yeah, and that's hard. It's
Very
it's
hard.
it's it's hard to do. And yeah, anyway, that's my story. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And to especially to my family for all the support. It means a lot. Um, and yeah, I'm happy to continue being here.
Thanks for sharing. All right, see
All
you
right.
next time.
So yeah, see you next time. We'll do something fun next time, huh?
Yeah, we'll have some uppers. All right,
Yeah,
peace.
yeah.